Do you believe in coincidences? President Kennedy's assassination is definitely an example of a good mind-boggling what-if scenario. Lee Harvey Oswald, Kennedy's assassin, got a job at a Texas school book depository a month before he would commit the crime. He used this job as a cover for carrying out the assassination. You just can't help but wonder if things wouldn't have gone down the way they did if he had never gotten accepted for the position. One of the weirdest coincidences in history deals with the infamous Booth family. Before his assassination, Abraham Lincoln's son Robert was taking a trip through Jersey City, New Jersey. While waiting for the train, he fell onto the tracks in an approaching train. Luckily, he was rescued by a complete stranger. The name of the kind stranger was Edwin Booth. It was the stage actor and brother of John Wilkes Booth, who would not long after that murder the father of the man his brother saved. The trigger for the eruption of World War I was the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand of Austro-Hungary, carried out by the Bosnian radical Gavrilo Princip. Princip had tried to assassinate the Archduke previously, but the attempt had failed. He was in a small cafe in a side street in Sarajevo when the Archduke's driver made a wrong turn and passed the cafe. Completely unplanned, Princip seized the opportunity, pulling out his gun and shot Ferdinand and his wife dead. One had to wonder, would this have ever happened if the driver was better at his job? And would the war have turned out the way it had, or would it have been started at all, if Princip didn't get the random opportunity? The American icon James Dean famously died in a car accident while riding a fancy Porsche. What many don't know is that the car continued to have a haunting life of its own after it had taken Dean's. When the car was taken to a garage for a fix-up after the fatal accident, the engine slipped out and left one of the mechanics legless. Eventually, a doctor went on to buy that same engine and put it in his race car. He also crashed and died in the car. That engine sure had some bad juju if you ask me. The engine isn't the only spooky part though. After Dean's famous ride was reassembled, that shop that did it burned to the ground for no apparent reason. The car was then taken to be displayed at a showroom in Sacramento when it fell off its display mount and broke a teenage fan's hip. The car eventually broke down. In fact, it mysteriously broke into 11 pieces. I came in with Halley's Comet in 1835. It is coming again next year, and I expect to go out with it. This is what Mark Twain said in 1909, and he was right. Twain was born on the first day of the year Halley's Comet appeared. He died on the first day of the comet's reappearance in 1910. The Titan was supposedly an unsinkable ship which struck an iceberg and sank, killing most of its passengers. No, this isn't a typo. We're not talking about the Titanic. We're talking about the Titan, the ship from Morgan Robertson's book called Futility. Reality, however, seems to have mimicked art in this case. To make things freakier, the tragedy in the book and the one that happened in real life happened in the same month. King Louis XVI of France was arrested along his wife on June 21st, 1791. The royal system was abolished in France on September 21st, 1791. On January 21st, 1793, Louis was executed. As if it isn't freaky enough that all these major events happened on the 21st, Louis had actually been warned about this. When he was a young boy, an astrologist told him to be aware of the 21st of each month because it was an unlucky time for him. Until the French Revolution made him break his pattern, Louis never conducted any business at all on the 21st of any month. In 1835, Richard Lawrence brought two well-functioning pistols with him in an attempt on President Andrew Jackson's life. He pulled the trigger of the first one, but it didn't go off. This gave the president time to react and get into a fight which his life depended on. However, Lawrence subdued the president and took out the second pistol, took a shot, and yet again the pistol malfunctioned. Lawrence was arrested and his weapons were seized. The official police reports state that there was nothing wrong with the pistols at all. Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin was obsessed with Tamerlane, an Asian warlord of the 14th century notorious for his brilliant military tactics, which, after the deaths of 17 million people, gained him control of a vast area. Stalin used his power to get himself a little present in 1941, the opening of Tamerlane's tomb in today's Uzbekistan. When the team opened the coffin, they found an inscription that said, "Whoever opens my tomb shall unleash an invader more terrible than I." Only a few hours after that, the German invaded the Soviet Union. A year later, Stalin ordered Tamerlane's remains back into the tomb with full burial rites. Not long after that, the German army surrendered Stalingrad, which was the turning point of World War II.